Hello viewers, tourism is regarded as one of the important and major industry in Italy. Italy has contributed immensely to the development of tourism all over the world. It is believed that the international travel first gained momentum during the Roman period. Today, it is also one of the major key players in the development of professionalism in tourism sector in the European continent. People mainly come to Italy for its rich art, cuisine, history, fashion and culture, beautiful coastlines and beaches, its mountains and priceless ancient monuments, especially those from the Greek and Roman civilizations. In this episode, we will be discussing about the various tourist destinations of Italy. For better understanding, this episode is divided into 5 parts, namely History of Tourism in Italy, Rome, Colosseum, the Roman Forum, Florence, Cathedral, St. Peter's Basilica, Venice Canals, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Pompeii, Pantheon, Capitoline Museum, Uffizi Gallery, Vatican City, Verona Arena, Piazza Navona, Milan, Borghese Galleria, Lake Como, Mount Vesuvio, Mount Etna Volcano, Gardaland, Amalfi Coast, Sardinia, Sicily and Murano. Let us have an idea about the history of tourism in Italy. As it is mentioned earlier, tourism dates back to the Roman Empire period. Romans have set many models in the travel for pleasure and knowledge. Romans have hosted many festivals called feria, which attracted thousands of people from all over the world. Among them, famous ones are the feasts, victory crowning ceremonies, gladiator fights, games, etc. Romans also have popularized the concept of vacation and holiday touring. After the fall of Roman Empire, Christianity became the greatest religious center and the Rome became one of the most revered places of pilgrimage, and these pilgrimages started the early forms of religious tourism. The major visitors to the Italy were the Britishers who travelled to the Italy to study its art, architecture and culture. The famous Grand Tour led to the development of tourism in Europe and in particular Italy. After the introduction of rail transport in 1840, mass tourism became more popular. Places such as Venice and Sicily were the top attractions and still they are the most preferred destinations. In 1919, tourism had become an opportunity and the Italian State Office was created to promote international tourism and assist with different bank credits. After the World Wars, tourism in Italy grew to become the 5th most tourist visited country in the European Union with more than 43 million tourists a year. Domestic tourism is the market's largest sector. Important destinations in Italy: Rome, Colosseum, the Roman Forum, Florence Cathedral, St. Peter's Basilica, Venice Canals. Italy is full of rich art, cuisine, history, fashion, culture, beautiful natural tourism resources and invaluable ancient monuments. Let us now study about the important tourist attractions in Italy. Rome. Rome is the capital city of Italy and is also called as the Eternal City, and true to its tag, this city has a history of over 25 centuries. Tourism is big business in the city of Rome with two of the most popular tourist attractions in the entire Italy. They are the Vatican museums and the Colosseum. Transport in Rome is well developed with two international airports, Leonardo da Vinci and Cipriano, and good rail and road networks. There are many ferry and cruise ship services which dock in New Porto di Roma, which is linked by trains and metro. Colosseum. Colosseum is the world famous amphitheatre built during 70 AD. It is the largest ever built amphitheatre in the world, but now remains as a partial ruin because of the major fire in 217 AD and great earthquake in 1349. Colosseum could hold around 60,000 spectators and was the arena where contests between gladiators called munera, mock sea battles, animal hunts, executions, dramas were performed. There are several underground tunnels called hypogeum through which the animals and contestants were brought into the arena. Several attempts were made to restore the structure from the 16th century to till date, and at present the Colosseum receives around 4 million visitors a year. The Roman Forum. The Roman Forum is said to be the heart of the Roman Empire, but now there are only the ruins, pillars, partial structures and foundations of temples, market halls, courts and many public buildings. During the Caesar's time, Forum became the heart and soul of the city life and a place for celebrations and viewed as the symbol of the empire. Visitors can view the entire Forum complex from the terrace of Campidoglio. Florence Cathedral. Florence Cathedral is one of the finest cathedrals in the world. Built in 13th century, the cathedral is a classic example of architectural marvel. The dome is designed by Filippo in 15th century on the right side of the cathedral. The exterior is covered in a decorative mix of pink, white and green marble. The interior, by contrast, is pretty stark and plain but quite enjoyable on warm summer days since the temperature inside tends to be cooler. Most of the year, there will be long lines of tourists and visitors to this cathedral. St. Peter's Basilica. The church is built on Vatican Hill across the Tiber River from the historic center of Rome. In the early 4th century, Emperor Constantine, the first Christian emperor of Rome, decided to build a basilica on Vatican Hill at the site of small shrine that marked the likely location of the tomb of St. Peter. Construction of the basilica started between 319 and 322 AD. A new basilica was built in the 16th century, which is the largest church in the world, and ever since the St. Peter's Basilica has been the center of Christianity, drawing pilgrims and tourists from all over the world. Venice Canals. Another most famous attraction of Italy is the Venice Canals. Venice Canals were being used as the city's streets. These canals are formed because the city itself is called the City of Islands, due to the reason that most of the Venice is built on the islands with many buildings forming a lining of many canals connecting each other. The tourists can take the traditional boat ride called as gondola boat ride, which takes the tourists on tour of many of the old buildings which remained unaltered for hundreds of years. The Grand Canal is the most famous of the Venice canals. Leaning Tower of Pisa, Pompeii, Pantheon, Capitoline Museum, Uffizi Gallery, Vatican City. Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is recognized as one among the 8 wonders of the world. The tower is also one of the most visited attractions in the entire of Italy. The tower is built in 12th century, and the uniqueness of the tower is that the tower is built on sandy base, which is sinking since the construction of the third floor, and at present the tower is leaning. Now, the tower went under restoration, by which supports have been given to the tower at its present position, which is holding the tower from further leaning. Visitors to the tower can climb up the stairs of the tower and view the beautiful city. Pompeii. Pompeii is an ancient Roman city built around 2000 years ago. The city lies below the Mount Vesuvius volcano. Legend says that Pompeii is preserved by the volcanic eruption in 79 AD, and the recent excavations have revealed that the remains of many houses, markets, baths, temples, theatres, streets and human remains. The city is another example of Roman engineering marvels as the visitors tour the site and walk along the old streets. It is also the largest archaeological site in Europe and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Pantheon. Pantheon is a relic from the Roman times. It is a large structure with a huge hall where Roman politicians and administrators used to assemble to discuss about the solutions to the issues relating to the empire. The building has precise proportions with height equal to the diameter and a single beam of light penetrating the hall from the top of the dome. Pantheon was also used as a cemetery where many Italian kings and famous senators are buried. Capitoline Museum. The Capitoline Museum, known as Musei Capitolini, showcases the best of city's archaeology and art. The museum complex is being based on the Piazza del Campidoglio and spread within 3 grand buildings: the Palazzo dei Conservatori, the Palazzo Nuovo and the Palazzo Senatorio. The nearby castle, the Holy Angel Castle, visitors can expect to find information relating to the great Roman Emperor Hadrian, and this ancient structure actually serves as a tomb of Hadrian and the burial site of his family. Uffizi Gallery. Uffizi Gallery was built during 14th century and today it is one of the most famous museums in the world. The reason being the outstanding collection of paintings and antique statues. There are other buildings constructed during 16th century which proves the greatness of Renaissance era. Vatican City. Home to the most wonderful and priceless art and collections, Vatican City is also a pilgrimage place with around 1.2 billion followers of the Catholic Church. Though Vatican City is the world's smallest independent nation state with only 160 acres within a 2-mile border, it houses many beautiful centuries-old buildings, gardens, post office, radio and TV stations. Verona Arena, Piazza Navona, Milan, Borghese Galleria, Lake Como, Mount Vesuvius. Verona Arena. The Verona Arena is an amphitheatre built in 30 AD and is still in use today for opera performances. The arena is one of the best preserved ancient structures which can hold around 30,000 audiences. Another interesting fact is that there were no microphones or loudspeakers used in the opera performances until the year 2011. Piazza Navona. Piazza Navona is built on the ancient stadium of Domitian. The stadium was also known as the competition arena, built by the Emperor Domitian in 86 AD. There is a square built on the same site as the old stadium of Navona in the 15th century, and today it is officially known as the Navona Square. Pope Innocent X is credited for today's view of the square with 3 fountains, St. Agnes Church and few old buildings. Milan. Milan was once the capital of the King Augustus in 15 BC, became the capital of Western Empire in 3 AD, and later becoming the municipality in 12th century with the end of governance by Archbishop. Milan has seen many historical events, and after the world wars, many immigrants from the rural area of southern Italy. Today, the city has become the major contributor to the local economy and also has become the fashion capital with many places for fashion shows, designer shopping, etc. There are a number of cathedrals and historical buildings with architectural marvels. Borghese Galleria. Borghese Galleria is another distinguished Italian museum famous for its collection of Italian Baroque painting and ancient sculptures. Located in the Borghese Gardens on the Pincian Hill and housed in the Borghese Villa, has many collections made during 17th century by Camillo Borghese, who was the Pope Paul V. Italian government acquired the Borghese Villa in 1902, and since then the government is taking care of the gallery. Lake Como. Lake Como is one of the most famous lakes in the entire of the Italy for its scenic areas which are surrounded by mountains and small towns. The lake has many old villas and palaces. There are many resorts and has a mild climate throughout the year which resembles the Mediterranean climate. Mount Vesuvius. Mount Vesuvius is located just about 40 minutes drive from the famous Pompeii. Mount Vesuvius is a volcanic mountain and its summit is about 3,900 feet. Tourists can hike to the summit and have a panoramic view of the Bay of Naples and clouds of steam while looking down into the crater. Mount Etna volcano, Gardaland, Amalfi Coast, Sardinia, Sicily and Murano. Mount Etna volcano. Mount Etna volcano is one of the world's most active volcanoes. It has been erupting since several million years. Mount Etna is one of the greatest and beautiful volcano adventure tour destinations in Sicily, beside many other which can be easily enjoyed from charming villages of Taormina. This volcano has more than 400 craters split all over the Catania County. To the ancient Greeks, Mount Etna was the realm of Vulcan, god of fire, and the home of the one-eyed monster known as the Cyclops. Etna offers skiing in the winter months and breathtaking hikes in the woods during the summer. There are also a number of smaller peaks on the slopes of Etna and some interesting caverns. Gardaland. Gardaland is an amusement park located in northeastern Italy which was opened in 1975. The park houses Gardaland, Gardaland Sea Life and the Gardaland Hotel. The park is located adjacent to the Lake Garda. Gardaland is ranked one of the finest amusement parks in the world with respect to the revenue. Among the attractions in the park are the Castle Garden, fantasy kingdom, some of the best roller coasters in the world, and the kids country. Amalfi Coast. Amalfi Coast is well known for its wonderful nature, rocky cliffs, and a mixture of cultures. There are many ancient villas built during the Roman age, and it was ruled by four marine republics of Italy, namely the Genoa, Pisa, Venice, and at present the Italy itself. Other nearby places includes the Amalfi Cathedral, Ravello Cathedral, and Postiano Cathedral. Sardinia. Sardinia is the second largest island in the Mediterranean Sea with around 2000 kilometers of coastline, sandy beaches, and mountains. Sardinia is also famous for the stone structures called nuraghi, which are believed to be dates back to the Bronze Age. The mountains in the region offer a best place for hiking and taking photograph of the picturesque scenery and the coast. There are many palaces and cathedrals dating back to the 13th and 14th century AD. Sicily. Sicily is one of the beautiful islands of the Mediterranean, and the culture which are around 3000 years old, and it is known as the wonderful destination in Europe. The landscape of Sicily is varied, and there are many lemon trees, terracotta walls, Palermo's markets, and his history adds to the attraction. Sicily is also famous for its ancient cuisines including shellfish, citrus, tuna, swordfish, hazelnuts, almonds, and wild herbs. Tourists can also visit the Stromboli volcano, Segesta, Catania restaurant, etc. Murano. Murano is another important tourist destination in Italy. Murano is a group of 7 islands connected together by bridges. Murano has been occupied since Roman times and houses centuries of varying architectural styles. The important places of visit are the glass factories, where many visitors will be offered the demonstrations of glass making and different items made from glass, the glass museum which showcases Venetian glass techniques over the centuries and displays varieties of glass from as far as back as Egyptian times. The other places of interest include the Basilica of St. Mary and St. Donatus, Campo Santo Stefano Clock Tower, Palazzo da Mula, and many Murano glass shops for their exquisite handcrafted glasswares which are famous worldwide. To sum up, history of tourism in Italy dates back to the period of Roman Empire. The concept of leisure travel was already being practiced by the rich and wealthy Romans. There were many festivals held during the Roman period which attracted many from all over the world. Italy has many world famous tourist attractions, and among them are the Rome, the Colosseum, the Roman Forum, Florence Cathedral, St. Peter's Basilica, Venice Canals, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Pompeii, Pantheon, Capitoline Museum, Uffizi Gallery, Vatican City, Verona Arena, Piazza Navona, Milan, Borghese Galleria, Lake Como, Mount Vesuvius, Mount Etna volcano, Gardaland, Amalfi Coast, Sardinia, Sicily, and Murano. All of the above mentioned places of attractions have the mixture of natural, cultural, art, and architectural marvels which make the visitors and tourists spellbound. Thank you for watching.